There is a sound that is not heard with the ears but felt in the spirit. It is the sound of a divine alarm, echoing through the chambers of time. The watchmen are stirring. The sleepers are being shaken. And the voice of the Lord is crying out once more across the earth. We have come to a threshold, not just a moment on the calendar, not just another August, but a divine appointment etched before the foundations of the world. Throughout the scriptures, God moves in seasons, in set times, and appointed hours. The Hebrew word is mod, a sacred rendezvous with destiny. August 2025 bears the fingerprints of such a mod. The patterns are converging. The signs are aligning. The ancient warnings are rising from the pages of prophecy into the headlines of the day. What was once hidden is being unveiled. What was once whispered is now being shouted. It is written that God does nothing without first revealing his plans to his servants, the prophets. And now the unveiling has begun. The veil is lifting. The prophetic clock ticks with an urgency not heard in generations. The very atmosphere trembles with anticipation. Something is coming. Something is coming. Something is already here. Nations rage. Kings plot in vain. The economies of the world shake and the moral foundations of civilization crumble beneath the weight of rebellion. Yet above it all, the hand of the sovereign still writes on the wall. The warnings have not ceased. The harbingers have not grown silent. The signs have not faded into yesterday. They have intensified into today. This is not the hour for fear. This is not the moment to shrink back or to slumber. This is the hour of the voice in the wilderness crying, "Prepare ye the way of the Lord." August is not just a name on a calendar. It is a marker, a gate, a threshold between what was and what is coming. And those who have ears to hear must now listen. Those with eyes to see must now look. Those who are slumbering must now awaken. For the trumpet is sounding. And so, beloved, I speak now of what has been revealed, not through speculation, not through hysteria, but through the patterns of the eternal, through the word that does not fade, and the signs that align not by accident, but by divine decree. This is the revelation for August 2025. This is the hour to stand, to watch, to weep, to war, and to be ready from the beginning of time. God has ordained moments, set times in which heaven intersects with earth, and the course of nations is altered. August 2025 stands as one such appointed time. Not because of human plans or political movements, but because of the convergence of ancient patterns, biblical, historical, and prophetic, that point to a divine threshold now upon us. In the scriptures, God operates according to appointed times, or monimous sacred seasons, when his purposes are revealed, when his voice becomes unmistakable, and when his hand moves in ways that shake the foundations of the world. August 2025 is not arbitrary. It aligns with a buildup of prophetic signs, the culmination of cycles that have repeated throughout history. We are not looking at mere coincidence. We are witnessing a pattern, one that has unfolded before, in the days of Noah, in the days of Jeremiah, in the days when empires fell and kingdoms were judged. Each time the warnings came. Each time the signs were clear. Each time most did not heed the call. This is a moment where prophetic timelines meet. The number 7, the number of completion, the number of Sabbaths, rests at the heart of God's calendar. When multiplied through the cycles of years, jubilees, and the appointed feasts of the Lord, a pattern emerges, one that reveals seasons of shaking, of judgment, of breakthrough, and of return. August 2025 follows 7 years from many pivotal global shifts that began in 2018, intensified in 2020, and exploded into full disruption by 2023. But now we have crossed into a new chapter, a threshold. The turning point is here. Throughout history, every time God moved to awaken a people, he began with a shaking. The comforts of the world were disrupted. The systems men trusted were removed. And in that shaking, God made himself known. What we see rising in August 2025 is the echo of that ancient pattern. Economic instability, moral collapse, global unrest, natural upheavals. These are not random. These are alarms. Divine tremors. A voice calling the nations to return and the remnant to rise. This appointed time is not only about judgment, it is also about invitation. For those who discern the hour, it is a call to alignment, a call to separate from Babylon, to break from the entanglements of this world, and to stand in the purposes of God with holy fear and unwavering faith. The remnant must not only watch, they must weep, they must war, they must prepare. For the hour is late. There are moments in history when the heavens and the earth seem to speak in unison. when the signs become too precise, too aligned, too prophetic to ignore. August 2025 is such a moment. The trumpet is sounding, and though the world rushes forward in its noise and distractions, those who walk in the Spirit can hear it. It is not hidden. The warnings are not concealed in the shadows. They are broadcast in plain sight for those with eyes to see and ears to hear. In the scriptures, God often speaks through the heavens, the stars, the sun, the moon. They are not just part of creation. They are divine instruments of communication. From the star that guided the wise men to Bethlehem, to the darkening of the sun at the crucifixion, to the blood moons and solar eclipses of our own generation, these are not random cosmic accidents. They are harbingers. And now in August 2025, we witness yet another celestial alignment. Another signpost in the heavens declaring that the clock of prophecy is not slowing. It is accelerating. But it is not only the heavens that testify. The earth itself groans. Creation trembles under the weight of sin and rebellion. Earthquakes increase. Fires rage. Storms grow in intensity and frequency. What once happened once in a century now happens multiple times in a year. The balance of nature is being shaken because the moral foundations of mankind have been broken. As it was in the days of Noah, so it is again. When the thoughts of man are continually evil, when the distinction between clean and unclean, right and wrong, holy and profane has been erased. As in Noah's time, the earth reacts. Geopolitical tremors also echo the sounding trumpet. Nations are rising against nations. Alliances once stable are now fragile. The cries for peace mask preparations for war. Jerusalem, the cup of trembling, is again at the center of controversy. Prophecies concerning the kings of the East systems, the great falling away. All are no longer future possibilities. They are present realities. The very headlines of our day mirror the words written by prophets thousands of years ago. The convergence is undeniable. And in the midst of it all, a spiritual shift is underway. The powers of darkness grow bolder. What was once shameful is now celebrated. What was once hidden in the shadows is now flaunted in the open. But the increase of darkness is not a cause for fear. It is a call for light. Where the enemy increases his voice, heaven raises its standard. The trumpet of God does not sound in silence. It calls to his people, to the watchmen, to the warriors, to those who dwell not in comfort, but in consecration. The signs are here. They are loud. They are clear. And they are not waiting for tomorrow. They are speaking now. The trumpet is sounding, not just in the heavens, not just in the earth, but in the spirit. Will you discern it? Will you awaken? Will you respond? From the ancient plains of Shinar to the modern halls of global summits, the spirit of Babel has never truly disappeared. It has only changed its form. What began as a tower built by man to reach the heavens, defying the command of God, is now reappearing in a new and more sophisticated form. August 2025 marks a turning point in this unfolding. We are witnessing a sharp acceleration toward a one-world system, a merging of governance, economy, surveillance, and even spirituality. And it is no coincidence. It is the echo of Revelation. It is the return of Babel, rebuilt in the shadows of prophecy. In Genesis, mankind came together with one language and one purpose, to make a name for themselves, to reach the heavens without God. It was not merely a construction project. It was rebellion in bricks and mortar. It was a declaration of independence from the sovereign. And so God came down, scattered the people, and confused the languages. But the heart of Babel remained in the fallen heart of man. And now, in the latter days, that same spirit has returned. Not with bricks, but with networks, not with mortar, but with data. Not in one city, but across the nations. In this present hour, we see governments and corporations working hand in hand to create unified digital systems. Digital currencies, global ID systems, centralized databases that track, monitor, and control. The cry for unification sounds noble. Peace, safety, sustainability. But the foundation is built upon man's control, not God's sovereignty. We are being conditioned to surrender autonomy, to trust systems we do not understand, and to trade liberty for convenience. The technology is no longer coming. It is here, and August 2025 bears witness to its rapid deployment. The stage is being set. Financial systems are being tied together. Borders are becoming irrelevant in the digital sphere. Speech is being filtered. Thought is being policed. And faith, if not aligned with the narrative of unity, is being labeled as dangerous. The beast system of revelation is not birthed overnight. It rises slowly, subtly, wrapping itself in the language of progress and protection. But behind the facade is control. And behind the control is a throne of rebellion. Even within the religious realm, there is a push for spiritual unification, a blending of faiths, a denial of absolute truth, a call for tolerance that demands the surrender of the gospel. The false prophet spirit is moving swiftly, paving the way for a global faith that serves man, not God. And those who refuse to bow are being isolated, ridiculed, and prepared for persecution. There is a city unlike any other on the face of the earth. It is not the largest, nor the wealthiest, nor the most politically dominant, yet it remains the center of divine prophecy, the epicenter of God's dealings with man, and the target of the enemy's rage. That city is Jerusalem. And in August 2025, the prophetic clock ticks louder than ever, because once again, the stirring has begun. Movements around the Temple Mount and the Eastern Gate are not political anomalies or archaeological curiosities. They are signs, warnings, harbingers. From the time King David captured Zion to the days of Solomon's temple, from the exile of Babylon to the return under Nehemiah, Jerusalem has always been a city of divine appointments. It was here that the Messiah was crucified and resurrected. It is here he will return. Every inch of this city is saturated with prophetic significance. And in the final days, Scripture tells us that Jerusalem will become a cup of trembling to all nations. That trembling has begun. In recent months, events around the Temple Mount have escalated. Tensions rise. Direction shift. There is talk of access, of change, of unprecedented developments on the Holy Hill, where once the temple stood. Whispers of preparation, silent arrangements, unusual alliances, and beneath it all, a spiritual current moves, drawing the eyes of heaven and the powers of darkness to the same focal point. The Temple Mount is not just sacred ground. It is a portal in time, a place of covenant, a countdown marker in the divine timeline of redemption and judgment. The Eastern Gate, sealed since the days of the Ottoman Empire, remains shut, just as the prophet Ezekiel foretold. And yet, its silence speaks louder than any declaration. For the King, the Messiah will return through that very gate. No matter how many stones are laid against it, no matter how many walls are built, no matter how many laws are passed, nothing can stop the appointed return of the King to his city. The sealed gate stands as both a sign and a prophecy. And each passing day brings us closer to the moment it will open, not by man's doing, but by the power of God. Jerusalem is now again becoming the center of international controversy. The world is watching. The nations are murmuring. Alliances shift. But for those who know the word, none of it is coincidence. Every step taken on the Temple Mount, every tension around the Eastern Gate, every UN resolution, every protest, every moment of unrest, it all points to one thing: the nearing of his return. In this appointed season, we are not simply seeing history unfold. We are watching prophecy manifest. The clock is not slowing, it is accelerating. The hands are moving faster. The days are becoming shorter, and the signs of Jerusalem declare it all. The cry is rising from Zion. The shofar is sounding in the Spirit, and the Lord is once again setting his eyes upon his holy hill. The question is, are we watching? Are we awake? Are we ready? There comes a time in every generation when a line is drawn. A moment when neutrality is no longer an option, when the gray disappears and only light and darkness remain. August 2025 has brought us to such a time. The days of compromise are over. The age of spiritual blending, of casual faith, of lukewarm devotion is being consumed by a divine fire that demands separation. The voice of the Lord is calling, not to the masses, but to the remnant, to those who still tremble at his word, to those who have not bowed to Baal, to those who choose consecration over comfort. From the beginning, God has drawn lines. He separated the light from the darkness on the first day of creation. He called Israel out from among the nations. He commanded his people not to mix the holy with the profane. And now in these final days, he is drawing that line once again. The distinction is becoming clear. Those who serve him in spirit and in truth will shine brighter. This moment is holy. It is weighty. It is the mercy of God wrapped in urgency. For the night grows darker and the world sinks deeper into chaos. But the bride is called to rise, not with fear, not with compromise, but with fire in her lamp and oil in her vessel. We have come to the end of this prophetic unveiling, but not the end of the urgency. For the time is not future, it is now. The signs have spoken. The trumpet has sounded. The voice of God is roaring through the shaking of nations, through the stirring in Jerusalem, through the rise of the one world system, through the darkness encroaching upon the earth, and through the midnight cry that calls his people to awaken. August 2025 is not just a month. It is a gate in time. It is a divine threshold through which we are all now passing. Those who discern the hour will not walk in fear, but in clarity. Those who see the signs will not slumber, but will rise. And those who carry the oil of intimacy will not be caught off guard, but will shine like burning lamps in the midnight hour. This is not the time to debate signs, to speculate endlessly, or to get lost in arguments. It is the time to respond, to act, to repent, to return, and to prepare. The earth is trembling, but not without cause. The heavens are declaring, but not without message. And the Spirit of the Lord is calling, but not to the casual and the compromised. He is calling to the remnant, to those who have ears to hear, to those who are willing to leave behind everything that cannot pass through the fire. This is the moment when the wise will separate from the foolish, when the wheat will be distinguished from the tares, when the true church will arise while the counterfeit fades into collapse. God is not silent. He has never been. He is speaking now in thunder and stillness, and warnings and in mercy. He is reaching for his people, not to condemn them, but to awaken them. The bridegroom tarries, but not without reason. He delays, that we might be ready, that the oil might be filled, that the fire might be rekindled, that the church might be purged of its mixture, its idols, its apathy. The days ahead will not grow lighter in the natural. The shaking will continue. The systems will rise, the pressure will increase. But those who dwell in the secret place of the Most High will abide under the shadow of the Almighty. They will walk through fire and not be burned. They will see 1,000 fall at one side and 10,000 at the other, yet remain untouched. For their foundation is not of this world. Their citizenship is in heaven. Their gaze is fixed on the return of the King. So now, choose. Choose this day whom you will serve. Choose light over darkness, consecration over compromise, oil over empty lamps. The trumpet has sounded. The signs are clear. The shaking is real. But so is the hope. So is the promise. So is the glory yet to be revealed. The midnight cry is here. The bridegroom is coming. Let the bride prepare herself.